Two overtimes, 51-50 to Missouri. So they try to bounce back this week. Texas A&M, they began 5-0 this year. Then they went on the road the last couple of weeks, came away with 2 losses. But here at Kyle Field, they're almost impossible to beat. They've lost only 4 times at Kyle Field in the 90s. My partner, Artie Gigantino, is downstairs amidst the masses. And Artie has come ready for this one. Arthur?
And I came prepared, because the one thing you need here in Aggie Stadium is good shoes, because you're going to stand the entire game, which is the whole concept of the 12th man. Now, the crowd gets loud and boisterous here during the game, but on the field, the Texas A&M defense has got to be disciplined and do a very good job against Tony Lindsey, the option quarterback from Oklahoma State. Last weekend, Oklahoma State, the Cinderella team in the country, stubbed its toe. They lost their their sneaker against Missouri. We'll see what happens tonight.
Well, Artie, keep your sneakers on and be careful coming up back to the booth. This one should be a lot of fun. The Cowboys and the Aggies. And this guy, Dat Nguyen, will be chasing ball carriers and Tony Lindsey all night long. Come on back to College Station with us. Aggie Land, along with Artie Gigantino and Greg Bell. I'm Drew Goodman, the home of the 12th man. Texas A&M getting set to go with Oklahoma State. And speaking of Greg Bell, he's situated down on the field. Greg, take it away. What do you have?
Look for the natural elements to play a major factor in tonight's game. Tonight marks the first time in 8 weeks that Oklahoma State has played on the natural surface, and that can slow down the best of option teams. On the other side, Texas A&M plans to come in and throw the ball. Well, a 30-mile-an-hour wind will blow through Kyle's Field, and that might just take a little of the passing edge away from them.
All right, Greg, it was blowing a little bit earlier today. There's not a cloud in the sky, Artie, and the field is in great condition. It is foreign turf for Oklahoma State.
Absolutely, and it'll have an effect, the wind will, on the kicking game also tonight.
Bob Simmons, 6-1 in his 3rd year as the head man in Stillwater, and they love what they've done there, what he's done there. He's been absolutely terrific. Let's check his keys to the game, Artie.
Okay, the first thing that's got to happen tonight is the quarterback, Lindsey's got to rush for 125 yards. The defense has got to go back to being dominant. Last week they gave up 452 yards, and they've got to replace Alonzo Mays somewhere in the offense.
Alonzo Mays out for the regular season with a separated shoulder. More on that in a moment. R.C. Slocum, good friend of yours. He's been the head man for 9 years. What does Texas A&M have to do to snap that 2-game losing streak?
They cannot allow Oklahoma State to have a cheap touchdown. They've got to prevent any big plays. They've got to throw the football to win tonight, because Oklahoma State's going to have a 9-man front with that 46 defense to stop the run, and they have got to dominate the kicking game, which they really think they can. And by the way, Drew, both teams have an outstanding kicking game.
Special teams outstanding in this football game. You're absolutely right.
And both punters, Drew, will have great nights tonight because of the win factor.
Unless you're punting into the win.
Unless you're punting into the win. But half the time they'll be punting with the win.
Here's an interesting story. Oklahoma State won the toss for the 7th time in 8 games this year. The only time they've lost a toss last week at home, and they also lost. Every other time they've won the football game. So coaches who tend to be superstitious might file that one away. There's Dante Hall. He's back healthy. A dangerous return man. Russ Schwetman will kick it off for Oklahoma State. They won the toss, but they deferred to the second half. A crowd in excess of 65,000 tonight at Kyle Field. Here we go. And Dante Hall will not get his mitts on this one with the help of a breeze at his back. He kicks it through the end zone. Brandon Stewart is the quarterback for the Aggies. They had been shuttling Stewart and Randy McCown, but Stewart, off his performance in the second half last week in a loss to Texas Tech, now has the job. Unless he really falters, Artie, he's the man.
Well, there was some controversy down here earlier in the year. Why have 2? But R.C. could not make up his mind who was the better guy. But as you said, now Stewart's the man. Bingo set back his ball to the near side, now motion. Stewart, 5 coming. Stewart in trouble when he throws it away. Trying to set the screen, it never got going.
As Dante Hall was the intended target. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines starters, the skill guys. Dante Hall is an exciting sliding running back. He can make people miss in a phone booth. Up front, a very solid offensive line. Steve McKinney has been a 3-year starter at guard, and they get Cameron Spikes back from an injury at right tackle. 2nd down and 10. Again, trips to the top. Hodge in motion. And Stewart finds Hodge, a short game of about 3 yards. Trent Alexander knocked him out of bounds. Let's check the starters defensively for Oklahoma State. They play an even front. Jamal Williams is fine a defensive tackle as there is in college football. Awfully quick for 300 pounds. Kenyatta Wright in the middle, 44 tackles, a couple of sacks. He's the quarterback of the defense. A very good secondary. Williams and McQuarters are terrific cover men. 3rd down for Texas A&M. They need the 30. Stewart under pressure gets it away, and it is in and out of the hands of his intended target. Good lick by Ricky Thompson.
And that was the trademark of his blitzing 46 defense from Oklahoma State. The first 3rd down situation, they decide to blitz and come after him. You can look for that to happen a lot tonight, because one of the elements that they missed last week against Missouri was that wild run-around blitzing style. They're going to get back to that tonight.
R.W. McQuarters back to receive the punt from Shane Leckler. And McQuarters avoids the first man. Oklahoma State will have it in good shape out of their 37-yard line after a 51-yard punt by Leckler, who is number 2 in the nation in punting the football.
And you know, coming into the game, he averaged over 48 yards per punt. That's going to help his average. Good a punter right now is in the country.
Punters tonight. R.W. McQuarters, you saw him on defense, folks, he's staying in there. He plays up as well. Tony Lindsey is the redshirt freshman. Thomas Jefferson School in Denver, 6'2" and 190, and Pastor, where he's really good, and a lot of movement up front. And coming across the line of scrimmage was Brad Crowley.
Well, part of the excitement of playing home at night here is to get going fast for this A&M defense. And Crowley looked like he was a little bit rambunctious there, but it looks like the official's going to call it against Oklahoma State.
Good ball. False start on the offense. It remains 1st down.
Randy Crystal, our referee tonight. So now it's 1st and 15 for Oklahoma State. Nathan Simmons, Bob Simmons' son, is the lone setback. Lindsey throwing the deep ball. And McQuarters grabs it, and he'll be down inside the 10-yard line. What a catch by R.W. McQuarters. Everybody talks about Charles Woodson at Michigan. He's got nothing on this guy in terms of being a two-way player, Artie.
Well, he's a big play player also. Whenever he touches the ball, he's got a chance to make a big play. And there was no question that the Oklahoma State game plan that time was to go to him. He runs right past Brandon Jennings. The ball was a little bit behind him, and he goes up and grabs the football. That's a big play guy right there, number 17. He can do it all, Drew.
61-yard gain. 1st and goal at the 5. Simmons darts, and did he get in? No signal yet. Stopped just shy of the goal line. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineup for Oklahoma State. The skill guys, Nathan Simmons, Kevin Brown, Sean Love, the wideout, is averaging 27 plus a catch. Pretty good offensive line. Menifee and Henson have been starters for 3 years. Simmons again, up in the air. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Well, the one thing that just happened is exactly what Mike Hankwitz and R.C. Slocum didn't want to have happen, to give Oklahoma State big plays. They came into the game and said, we can't give them big plays, but they gave them a big play, and the coach's son there puts Oklahoma State ahead.
Talk about striking quickly. Simmons pounds it into the end zone. That's his 5th rushing touchdown of the year.
Well, great players make big plays, and that's what you saw that time from Lindsey and R.W. McQuarters.
Tim Sidness pumps it through, 7-0, Oklahoma State. The first play offensively for the Cowboys. They throw the deep ball to McQuarters. There was great coverage. He just made a marvelous play to set up the touchdown. Quick 7-0 lead. Huge football game in the South Division. The Cowboys with just 1 loss. Texas A&M at 2-2. R.W. McQuarters, this guy goes both ways and is dangerous on special teams. Artie, he has the longest reception for Oklahoma State, the longest rush, and the longest return.
Yeah, he is clearly the Deion Sanders of college football. And coming out of high school, he was Mr. Everything, Everywhere. He was a trade All-American out of high school, and he's going to be an NFL player. I guarantee you that someday.
Rush Schwetman into it again, and Dante Hall will not get his mitts on this one either. And we go west to Los Angeles, a Dr. Pepper game break with Kevin Frazier. Offensive line at Nebraska.
And a little different running game, too.
Yes. 2 tight ends for Texas A&M. Stewart again to put it up. And it is away complete to Chris Cole, a sophomore from Orange, Texas. And this was R.C. Slocum's game plan.
Absolutely. You got to get the ball on the perimeter, and you've got to throw the ball to win. Now, Cole is from R.C. Slocum's hometown. Now, you're going to see Stewart come out on the corner here. He is looking for one receiver, and that is Cole. And he throws it perfectly to him. Cole makes a nice catch.
Slot to the top. And for the first time tonight, we have 2 backs in the backfield. Now Sir Parker will depart. They'll throw it to Parker in the flat. And Parker will get it to the 38-yard line, but a flag came down.
Now, one of the things you want to do with Parker is put him out as a wide receiver because he can run after the catch. He's got good hands. He's a half of a tailback and a half of a wide receiver. Now, that looked like unnecessary roughness that time on Brandon Stewart, the quarterback.
Roughing the quarterback on the defense. It'll be 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
That's penalty number 59 this year against Oklahoma State. And a lot of them have been on defense. Now, that's uncalled for there. Big old Jamal Williams has got to take it easy. You can't knock him down. He did a good job there of trying to play act it a little bit. But the problem was Stewart was a better actor. He fell down.
That feeder class, that feeder 101, it paid off.
Yes.
The up back is Mark Broyles. They're going to run a little reverse. This is Chris Cole. Cole gets a block. And another to the 2-yard line. On the pickup, he has the best speed of the wideouts.
That's good coaching because they worked on that play for 10 minutes the other day in practice. In fact, it was a funny exchange because you're going to see Cole coming around. He's going to have the football now in his right hand, his inside arm. The coaches were kidding him, telling him to put it in his left arm. He said, I'm faster in my right arm. So it worked out that time.
Oh, near disaster. Dante Hall didn't handle the handoff, and it looked like a clean handoff from Brandon Stewart, so they'll lose a couple of yards.
What you want to do down here, though, Drew, in the goal line area, when it's goal to go, you want to run straight ahead. I don't like misdirection plays down here because the defense can get penetration and tackle the running back for minus yardage. Run right at him because this guy is a good, solid inside runner.
We'll look out for the fullback, touchdown Tiki Hardeman. They go to Hall again, and Dante gets it to about the 1 or 1.5 yard line. It'll set up 3rd down and goal. Kenyatta Wright was in the neighborhood. Also, Andrew Waddle.
You know, they're trying to run behind the side, the left side of the Texas A&M offensive line down here. Steve McKinney, Chris Ruman, big guys. But that guy right there, number 34, is a man who can run up inside. And they really missed him the last 2 weeks because he energizes his team. A&M has done a solid job with 29 scores this year inside the red zone.
Hall gets a block to the end zone. Touchdown. Well, one of the great traditions here in College Station at Kyle Field. It's great to have a date if you come to the ball game.
Now, my problem would have been I never would have been able to get a date.
I didn't want to say that.
I know, but it is a great tradition. And all this is a pitch sweep to the right of the A&M offense. You're going to see Tiki Hardeman get a good block outside, but Dante Hall picks his hole and gets into the end zone. He's a touchdown-producing guy.
So it's 7-7 off the top. We talked about defense, and we talked about big plays, and both teams have struck with big plays, Artie.
Well, you know, coming into the game, you look at Texas A&M, they average almost 370 yards per game on offense, and Oklahoma State averages almost 400. So even though both coaches are defensive coaches, they have a defensive mentality in both programs, they are producing on offense as well.
And understand this is a must game really for both schools, but particularly for Texas A&M. If they lose tonight, they're out of any chance of playing in the Big 12 championship game in San Antonio.
Absolutely, and they've had, like we've talked about, they lost their last two games on the road against Texas Tech and Kansas State. And one of the problems they had at Kansas State, they couldn't run the football. They had minus 35 yards rushing against Kansas State.
That's a good-looking scoring drive, 80 yards. They were benefited by a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty. The big play, the end around, the reverse by sophomore Chris Cole, which covered 42 yards.
And there's one of the better quarterback coaches in the country right here, Ray Dorr. He's talking to his quarterbacks over there, Randy McCown and Brandon Stewart.
Well, there's the 12th man, another one of the traditions here in Aggie land. This guy's a walk-on. All he'll do is run under the kicks. He represents the 12th man, the crowd here at Texas A&M. His name is Chad Fraxon. He's a 210-pound sophomore from Guyana, Texas.
And I love that tradition here. I think that's wonderful.
Comes to Kevin Williams, and Williams finds an opening. He lost the football, and Oklahoma State falls on it at the 35-yard line. There's Franson. He was in the neighborhood.
And this place would have really went nuts if he would have recovered the fumble. As we look at him, and being an old special teams coach, that's a great job of using your hand, trying to find the ball, but he's also hustling. Come on, keep going, go get it, and you might get the football. Good hustle, Ed.
And it is not a coincidence that he is wearing number 12.
I know, that's the number they give him. And each week, a different person wears that jersey.
Tony Lindsay trying to check off. Here comes the 12th man, that is the crowd. And the Cowboys worked with crowd noise in practice all week. Nathan Simmons is up 9. And we check the Southwest Airlines defensive starters for the Aggies. The wrecking crew, as they become known throughout the years. Brad Crowley is playing very well in that 3-4 defense for Mike Hankowitz. Dat Nguyen, one of the finest backers in the country, though he's only about 5'10" and maybe 215 pounds. Rich Cody, the strong safety, is very steady. Slot to the top, Willie Grissom to the near side. Nathan Simmons will have a couple for a first down, and we take a Dr. Pepper game break with Kevin Frazier. Dinner later?
Absolutely.
Oklahoma State 7, Texas A&M 7. You saw the measurement, it was enough for a first down. Good hit as Dante Hill was separated from the football. The corner, Jason Webster.
Big time hit. That's called dislodging the football from the receiver. And what Webster did that time, he got a great jump on the football. He's almost knocking him down before the football gets there. That's called anticipation and seeing it correctly. Defensive coaches love that.
2nd and 10 for Oklahoma State. Kevin Brown, as a flag comes in, he was stuffed on the play. Zarek Rollins, a 270-pound senior, was not fooled.
Well, Drew, there were a couple flags on that one in the backfield and one at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal participation, 12 players on the field.
Do you know what? I thought there were 12 on the field because they had a double slot already and also a tight end in the game.
Well, here you go. Here you go. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 guys on the field. The official's absolutely correct. But I thought the 12th guy was supposed to be in the stands here. But Oklahoma State with Bob Simmons tried to sneak his own 12th guy in.
Yeah, he said, hey, if you can play with 12, we're going to play with 12.
He's a smart guy. Good, smart guy. Good move by a veteran coach who is my vote right now for probably the National Coach of the Year.
You'd be hard to find a good argument against Bob Simmons as Coach of the Year. This program hasn't had a winning season since 1988. This is Rolfe, nowhere to run. Dat Nguyen got out there in a hurry to help bring him down. Short gain on the hitch pattern.
Now everybody looks at Oklahoma State and say they run the football, but they throw the football a lot on first down. And it's going to be tough to run against this team today, led by number 9, Dat Nguyen. And he is a guy that's interesting. He's a Butkus finalist, and I stood next to him yesterday. He is not 6 foot. He is 5'10". He reminds me of Mike Singletary.
3rd and 23. Lindsey on the backside has a tight end, and Garrett Steggs will have enough for the first down. He just ran a little crossing route.
And that's usually the play that they throw to Alonzo Mays. He's the guy that they want to throw to. But they didn't change the offense because Mays wasn't here. They were going to execute their offense. Nice play action fake that time by Lindsey. He looks, he sets up in the pocket, he finds Steggs. Steggs catches it and gets rack, run after catch. That was a very nicely executed play.
Not bad when you can pick up 23 yards and you're known as a running team.
Well, remember, Lindsey's number 1 in the conference in passing efficiency.
Nathan Simmons straight ahead. And he darts and dives for about 4 yards to the 39-yard line of Texas A&M. Let's watch Dat Nguyen in the middle.
Well, he's a guy that's around the football. He is Mr. Productivity. He starts to read it, he shuffles, he comes back, but he gets blocked that time. Even the best of them, Drew, get blocked.
He doesn't get blocked frequently.
No.
He had 20 tackles in a game earlier this year. That's unbelievable.
And he averages over 10 a game in his entire career.
2nd down and 6 for the Cowboys in a 7-7 football game. Fobbs in motion. Lindsey sends 4 out, and he hits the outside receiver. That's Willie Grissom. And it'll be enough for a first down.
You know, Willie Grissom, him and Sean Love, one of the other wide receivers at Oklahoma State, were high school teammates. And I asked him, I said, who was better, you or Sean Love? And he said, to be honest with you, I was.
I asked Sean Love yesterday. He said, well, to be honest with you, I was. Yeah. You know how that goes.
Great friends there.
Steggs in motion. Give it to the big man. Still going. This is Akins. Brian Akins gets it inside the 15-yard line. He goes 245 or so.
And you know, it's unusual for Oklahoma State to give him the ball. But you watch the right guard here. He's going to pull, and he is going to make the play. Big old Adam Davis. He's going to pull around. He's going to make a key block that time on Crowley, and Akins is going to get up into the hole. And that's going to be something he's going to remember for a long time because he doesn't get the ball very much. And he knocks a couple defenders over on his way through. He's a hard guy to tackle. Nice block, though, by Davis.
Akins and Fobbs behind Lindsey. This is Fobbs. And he runs hard to the 6-yard line. Oklahoma State keeping Texas A&M off balance.
Well, one of the things that Oklahoma State does have, they have a tandem two-back system in the backfield. You're going to see Fobbs here. He averages 5.2 yards per carry. But between them, they average around 160 yards. It's 158 per game between Simmons and Fobbs. That's a nice 1-2 punch.
Fobbs again. And he will be very close to a first down around the 2-yard line. Finally stacked up by Trent Driver, another one of those inside linebackers, number 28. Little counteraction here,
Little
Artie.
counteraction, and Fobbs is a good inside runner. And one of the things that Oklahoma State does on offense, you're going to see the left tackle here, the left guard start to come around. They have a lot of different blocking schemes and a lot of different ways to get an extra blocker at the point of attack.
They did a good job on Dat Nguyen that time. It was enough for a first down, just outside the 1-yard line. First and goal, Cowboys. Akins, the football, the touchdown. Brian Akins, a junior from Woodbridge, New Jersey, who says, you know what, I came all the way to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I like it there. It's a little bit more quiet than it is back home.
And he likes it here tonight because he had a big-time effect on that drive. And between he and Kevin Brown, the other fullback, they are 500 pounds because Brown weighs 260. But there's a guy that doesn't smile very much, but he's got to be happy so far with Oklahoma State having 13 points in this game.
Tim Sidness with 6:02 to go in the first quarter. Bad snap. Greg Brown in trouble, throwing toward the end zone. Nobody there. And the extra point is botched. We will see if that looms large. Remember, the Cowboys lost by a point last week in 2 overtimes to Missouri. 13-7. Brian Akins puts Oklahoma State on top. Kicking it deep to Dante Hall. And Hall should get a chance. No, instead it comes to Chris Taylor. And Taylor will work his way to the 24-yard line. Let's take a look again at that conversion. The snapper is Tom Benson. Greg Brown is the holder.
And that was just a bad snap, Drew. Last week, that really played big, obviously, in the end of the game.
Well, it was 51-50 in 2 overtimes. Bob Simmons elected to go for 2. He wanted Tony Lindsay to throw the ball. Lindsay tried to run it. Missouri stopped him, and Larry Smith had a huge win. And Larry Smith came back this week, and Missouri upset Colorado in Boulder.
They've gotten better and better as the year has gone on. They did the exact same thing a year ago.
So the Aggies will try to answer 2 tight end formation. And Kevin Williams arrived the same time the ball did and bumped into Chris Cole. They're going to call it good coverage, incomplete pass.
You know, it was good coverage, and what A&M is doing, they're keeping their tight end in so Stewart can get on the corner and throw the ball to Cole. Now, this is what they call a man beater. He's going to run an out like a crossing pattern against man coverage. But Kevin Williams, Mr. Johnny on the spot, that's his 9th pass broken up this year. He's an all-conference player for this Cowboys secondary.
He jumped the route, 9 passes broken up, 5 interceptions. One of the top marks in the nation. Oklahoma State shows blitz. They come with it, but this one will be whistled dead.
That was going to be a 3-step drop where the quarterback just drops back 3 steps and throws a quick slant.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. Be a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 2nd down.
One of the interesting things about this matchup, both schools coming off of losses. In R.C. Slocum's case, 2 losses in a row, yet both coaching staffs felt that they practiced exceptionally well this week.
And especially that guy, he was tickled by the way his football practiced.
A lot of yards early for the Cowboys, and they lead 13-7. Parker in motion. They throw it to him again, and a good adjustment by Sir Parker to get to the 26-yard line. He picked up 6 yards on the play. The pass from Stewart was a little bit behind him. Trent Alexander made the stop.
Well, that wasn't the best pass I've ever seen, but obviously it was effective. He gets a little wobble to it, but Parker's got wonderful concentration. He comes back, catches the ball, and makes some positive yardage after the catch. He's a guy that's versatile. He not only can run the ball from the tailback position, but he can also go out and play wide receiver. Does a lot of things for the St. A&M offense.
3rd down and 9. Oklahoma State brings 6, and this is nowhere near Aaron Oliver. So Texas A&M will have to punt the football. Bob Simmons pleased with his defense. Let's take a look at our First Plus Financial Conference leaders. 2 tremendous punters in this football game, 2 pretty good return men.
Yeah, and Lecter is 2nd in the nation right now in punting average, and McQuarters, his statistics speak for themselves. He's 4th in the nation in punt returns. He does it all.
He has returned one for a touchdown this year. From the 20-yard line, McQuarters with some room. And he'll get it to the 34-yard line. So a punt of 54 and a return of 14. 13-7, 4:42 to go in the first quarter. Cowboys lead the Aggies in College Station tonight. The Cowboys have the football on a 13-7 lead from their own 34-yard line. The delay to Simmons. And Nathan Simmons with a little of this and a little of that for 9 yards, and we go to Los Angeles and Kevin Frazier with a 2nd and 1. Lindsey will have the first down, and we check in with Greg Bell. Greg?
Coming into the game, Oklahoma State's defense wanted to do their best to contain Kevin Lindsey around the perimeters. Well, they've done a great job of that thus far, but Slocum on that last series told them they still got to concentrate on the middle, because when you let the perimeter, you shut that part down, you leave the middle wide open.
All right, Greg.
You know, that was the first option type play that we've seen all night. And one of the things, they want Lindsey to hand the ball. I think they're saving the option for later on in the game.
Hitch to Simmons. He makes Holdman miss and ends up picking up a couple of yards before 5 Aggie players bring him down, led by nose tackle Marcus Hurd. Oklahoma State mixing it up.
And they want to pass the ball on first down because they like to run the ball on third down. But when you have a guy like Nathan Simmons who can catch the ball, it's to your advantage to put him out as a wide receiver sometimes, just like A&M does with Sir Parker. And right there, he showed he can catch the football and run with it after the catch.
2 tights, Steggs and Greg Brown in the football game. Give it to Simmons, and shooting the gap, that win. Oh, man, what a play. Does he arrive in a hurry?
Well, all good linebackers can read and react. This guy does a wonderful job, according to his coaches, and from what I've seen of him, of reading the football. He's going to see it start to his right. He's going to shuffle over. He sees a hole, and he's going to come up the field and make the play. R.C. Slocum gives him that flexibility. If he thinks he can make the play, he's allowed to shoot the gap. And that's good coaching, but it's real good playing by that guy.
3rd down and 8. The Cowboys just shy of midfield. They get Lindsey to the corner. And it was nearly intercepted. The Aggies did a good job there. They covered Garrett Steggs, who's going to have to step up in the absence of Alonzo Mays. Rich Cody broke on the football, the strong safety.
Well, that's where Lindsey's dangerous, on the perimeter. But you got to credit this Aggie defense, because right now it seems like they're getting some life back. And one thing that they're not doing with Tony Lindsey right now, like I said, is running the option, but they're getting him on the perimeter. And he makes a good throw, but that's just a big-time defensive play.
So now we see the other outstanding punter, Jason Davis. 46 yards of boot for Davis this year. Dante Hall will hope it gets in the end zone. It does not. Great coffin corner job out at the 7-yard line. The Aggies will be backed up. Dat Nguyen is a guy that is the leading tackler not only this year as a junior for Texas A&M, he's been the leading tackler since his freshman year, Artie. That's extraordinary.
And he loves playing football, and he's a guy that, like you said, he makes a lot of plays. He is Mr. Productivity for this A&M defense. He makes all the at the line of scrimmage. He is truly the leader of this team, but he's also a Butkus semifinalist, and he ought to be one of the 4 finalists in the end, and I might even vote for him.
Hodge goes in motion. Hall on a counter. He goes nowhere. Maybe a yard.
Well, it's tough to run that counter with all those guys up in there. There's a bunch of defenders, 9 to be exact, crowding the line of scrimmage. And I'll tell you, Jack Golden, whose cousin is Chris Hinton from the Vikings in the NFL, is a good, solid football player. He's a junior, 6'1", 230, and when he hits you, you know it.
67,000 expected tonight at Kyle Field. A whole lot of field in front of Texas A&M right now. Second down, and they'll call it 8. A delay, and a short gain again for Tiki Hardeman. Ricky Thompson in the neighborhood to bring him down, setting up third down. Some folks have made it down from Stillwater, evidently. We'll call those guys pumpkin heads for the rest of the night.
And they're fired up, and Halloween is here.
I didn't realize that you had relatives in Stillwater.
They came with us.
With Artie Gigantino and Greg Bell, I'm Drew Goodman. Third down, and 3 yards to go. Hardeman and Hall behind Stewart. Toss sweep, this is Hall. And on the first down, he was tripped up in the backfield, but was able to dive ahead enough for the first down. Alton Weaver will get credit for the tackle.
That was good blocking up front. You know, A&M came into the game about 30% on third down, but watch how he just gets up the field, and he's going north and south, and he makes the positive yards. He knew exactly where the yard markers were. Watch old Tiki Hardeman right there. He does a nice job on a block. He keeps his feet moving. He drives the defender out, and he gets the winning block. Give him the credit on that one.
Actually, it was Jamal Williams who tripped him up, not Alton Weaver. Again, here's Hall. He can make you miss. Can get a right. Grabs him around the ankles, but a solid gain on first down.
You know, it's interesting. You look at Hall. He's kind of a zigzag runner. He zigzags initially, but then he really turns into a power runner. He's an interesting guy to watch, but he is a productive guy in the backfield, and he energizes this whole offense.
And he's healthy again after playing just a few snaps the last couple of weeks. 1 quarter done in College Station, and the visitors, the Cowboys from Oklahoma State, have the lead, 13-7.
Makes this conference one of the great ones in the country.
It is second down and 5 for Texas A&M from their own 22. In the flat, Sir Parker. And Parker will have a first down at the 30-yard line. Dropped by Terrell Knowles. And that is the 3rd time they have thrown it to Sir Parker. He had 8 receptions coming in. Nebraska rolls big. Penn State, narrow win over Northwestern today. Florida State over NC State.
Don't count them out at the end either. Florida State's a good football team.
No, you can't count Florida State and Bobby Bowden out. How about Georgia? 20 points better than Florida.
Jim Donnan, how about that one? Jim Lambright, 27 against John Robinson at USC. Wow.
Tennessee wins a little bit. First down and 10 for the Aggies at their own 29. Hardeman and Hall in the I formation. 3-step drop, and a good delivery, but also a good delivery by R.W. McQuarters, separating the football from Matt Bumgardner.
And what is happening, Oklahoma State is anticipating the passing game from Texas A&M. And you're really going to see there McQuarters just really crowd that slant and make a good play. But what Oklahoma State's got to be careful about now is like a hitch and go, Drew, you know, where you fake the slant and then the receiver takes off down the field. But so far, so good for this Cowboy defense.
Cowboys play man-to-man about 80% of the time. Hand it to Hall. He keeps Thompson tripped him up.
And that's one of the negatives right there of crowding the line of scrimmage with 8 and 9 guys, because if a back does break the line of scrimmage, he's got a chance to go all the way. And that time he just gets tripped up a little bit, but those are 10 positive yards for the A&M offense. And give the credit that time to the big old right guard, Haimuli, who's one of the biggest guys on this football team at 6 foot, 295 pounds. And he makes guys like Dante Hall have wonderful statistics.
8 yards a carry. That's crazy.
But you know, coming into the game, he had 10 yards per touch, and that includes receptions and kick returns. So when he has got the football in his hands, he's a dangerous guy. And the A&M offense really missed Dante Hall the last 2 weeks against Kansas State and Texas Tech.
It was enough for a first down. The Aggies right outside their own 40-yard line. Hall works himself out to the 44-yard line. Again, Ricky Thompson covering him up. And it didn't look like much, but it was a 4-yard gain.
Well, big old Steve McKinney pulled around on that one and got him a couple extra yards. And A&M lined up in an unbalanced line that time to try to confuse the Oklahoma State defense, because sometimes when you're in this 46 and you're blitzing all the time, it's hard to get lined up to an unbalanced line.
Brandon Stewart, who grew up 90 miles from College Station in Stevensville, Texas. Started his career at the University of Tennessee, then transferred. And nowhere to run this time for Hall. Jack Golden wrapped him up, the converted tight end.
Well, Jack Golden, as we talked about before, is playing good. But A&M that time came out without a tight end in the game. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to spread them out. But big old Jamal Williams and Jack Golden, they don't get fooled. They stop the run, because even though there's not a tight end in the game and there's 3 or 4 wide receivers, you still got to be able to defend against the run. And that's exactly what Oklahoma State did that time.
3rd down and 6. They need midfield. The Cowboys rush 4. Stewart's in trouble. He's sacked. Courtney Mallory got him, the 290-pound sophomore from Martin Luther King High School in Detroit. 13-7. We take a look at our Burger King game summary. Simmons a 1-yard run. Brian Akins a 1-yard run. The Aggies have a 1-yard run from Dante Hall. There have been several big plays on both sides for both Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. And back deep, R.W. McQuarters from the 15-yard line trying to get to the wall. And he stepped out of bounds around the 34-yard line.
And he gets a nice pat on his head from Bob Simmons, who used to be a special teams coach. But you're going to see the picket fence right here, and he does a nice job of seeing it and getting up the field. And he does the right thing of going to the sidelines, and he did step out of bounds. But that wall was set out perfectly, and that's what happens when the punter kicks the football and he doesn't get enough hang time. One of the things you have to do if you're A&M tonight is get as positive a hang time as possible, so you can get your coverage guys down underneath and cover him, because he is dangerous, as you can see, anytime he touches the football.
12-11 to go in the second quarter. Oklahoma State 6-1, Texas A&M 5-2. Jamal Fobbs, not a lot of room there. A whole lot of purple jerseys led by Zarek Rollins, number 94. There's Reveille. You know, there's so many traditions down here.
And this is one of the best ones. In 1931, a couple of cadets ran over a collie. They brought the collie back to their dormitory. The next morning when they were playing Reveille, the dog came out, started barking, and thus a tradition was born at Texas A&M. Ever since then, Reveille has been the mascot here at Texas A&M.
Now, Artie, that's not the same Reveille. That's number 12.
That's
though.
number 12.
Just wanted to point that out. Jamal Fobbs with room. Flips out of the 50 to the 47-yard line before Brandon Jennings dragged him down. The redshirt freshman from New Orleans nearly busted it.
Well, you know, when you have two tailbacks that you count on, you have a fresh guy in the backfield all the time. And the offensive line's doing a good job of just track blocking there. And what they eventually do, take the A&M defenders past the hole. But that guy had the proper vision to pick the hole and get up the football field.
Jeremy Offit, the center, had a pancake block on the last play. Lindsey has all day. Now he's sacked. Warwick Holdman had him. Going to look like Lindsey could have lunch. He was sacked by Holdman.
Well, you know, that's Holdman's third sack, and that was good discipline that time. Watch Holdman up top here. The fake is away from him. He sees it come. He plays disciplined football. He comes up the field at the proper angle, almost cuts Lindsey off, plays off the block, and makes a positive play. That's good outside linebacker play that time by Warwick Holdman.
Second down and 14 for the Cowboys. Quarterback draw. That win read it, and Lindsey loses the football. But falling on it, one of the big offensive linemen at 62, Josh Henson, the senior.
You know, that's good discipline again by the Texas A&M defense. They are a disciplined group of guys that are staying at home. And one of the things Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, talked about to us, they didn't want to do a lot of things on defense tonight, but they wanted to be disciplined and stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. So this guy, when he starts running around, there's defenders around him. And that time, Dat Win does a wonderful job until he gets blocked. But a bunch of guys come and try to help him out.
Well, there was a holding call on Oklahoma State, so in addition to the fumble, well, not in addition to, because they'll wipe that play out and it'll be second down at 23 instead.
And that happens a lot with a scrambling quarterback because the linemen in the backs, Drew, have no idea where he is.
Florida Cadets, they're into this one. 6-point lead for the Cowboys in the second quarter. Simmons. Tackled from behind, 95, Rocky Bernard, one of 8 true freshmen playing for Texas A&M.
And one of 7 defensive line recruits that they had a year ago, and 4 of them are playing. The big guy from Baytown, the defensive line coach, Bill Johnson, just thinks he's going to be a future star, and so do those people in the stands there. Well, you got to say right now, A&M is doing a good job on defense, staying at home, being disciplined, and not allowing Lindsey to run the football.
Third down and a half acre. They need 21 yards. Screen set up. Simmons. And he'll be stopped at midfield, 12 yards short of a first down. And Oklahoma State will punt it to Texas A&M.
Now that was a middle screen that time where you invite the rush up the field and then you throw the ball where the defensive lineman originally lined up. And obviously Bob Simmons is having a word with his son there. Tell him to get up the field. You think they're talking about dinner tonight or tomorrow night, Drew?
No, he only talks to his mom, Linda, Bob's wife, about dinner. When he talks to Bob, it's about football, at least during the week.
Yeah, it's hard to coach your son, but if your son's a good football player, you might as well have him playing for you.
Jason Davis really gets into this one, and a fair catch by Dante Hall back at the 13-yard line. The Cowboys continuing to lead 13-7.
Texas A&M Aggies.
The Aggies first and 10 at their own 14-yard line. Brandon Stewart with time, and on a double move, Parker was open, but he couldn't hook up with his running back, and we pay a visit to Greg Bell.
On that last series, when the defense of Oklahoma State came to the bench, Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, jumped down their throats, told them they're playing like they did last week. If they don't get their heads up and get to playing some good football, they're going to find themselves down once again.
All right, Greg, I know Rob Ryan was embarrassed last week, giving up 51 points. No Ryan, no coach, period, likes to give up that many points.
He was an unhappy camper last night when we were talking to him. But he's a good coach, and he'll get it going again.
Toss sweep, Sir Parker with the corner. puts his shoulders down and arrives at the 23-yard line before he ran into 32 Terrell Knowles.
Number 32, Terrell Knowles.
It's a pitch now to the offensive right. You're going to see big old Hamuli, number 62, pull and knock a defender down. But that's a good job by Parker of seeing where to go. And here's a guy that's a real interesting story. He's got a young daughter. He's out here from Locke High School in Los Angeles and just doing a magnificent job in this A&M program.
Third down and very short. Same play. And Parker with a similar result. Nifty running to the 32-yard line. Ricky Thompson tripped him up. You mentioned Locke High School in Los Angeles. He's one of only a handful of players for the Aggies not from the state of Texas.
No, there's only 2 from Los Angeles, 2 from Oklahoma, and 2 from Louisiana, but 80 from the state of Texas. Now watch this big old guy right here, Hamuli. He is going to pull, and you've got 295 pounds coming at you, and he just buries old Jack London there, Jack London there. Excellent job by Hamuli.
Play action off of the toss sweep. Stewart's in trouble, he's dropped. Terrell Knowles got him. Tabor LeBlanc also in the neighborhood.
66.
Stewart did the right thing there. He did not have anywhere to throw. They tried a pick play against Oklahoma State, but what Oklahoma State does, they come out of man-to-man coverage and they zone off, so they cannot get picked because they're in zone. Stewart sees it, he buries himself, he eats the football, and he doesn't make the big mistake. You'd rather have the sack there than the interception.
That's great recognition and communication by a veteran secondary.
But it's also a good job by Stewart and his coach Ray Doerr of getting him ready for that.
Dante Hall. And he falls on his own at the 40-yard line. I don't know if anybody touched him, Artie.
I don't either. It didn't look like it. And looking at him, he kind of thinks the same thing. Because when you're shaking your head like that, you say, hey, the ground made a tackle. See, he heard me say it there.
He missed the last couple of weeks with the exception of returning punts and kicks with a knee injury. We asked R.C. Slocum, is he 90%? Is he 95%? He said, nope, he's 100%.
And as we talked about, this guy energizes this offense, and they really need him. And that's not a reflection on the other backs because they're all quality, but he brings an element of excitement to this offense.
3rd and 4. Stewart, first down. That's Derek Spiller, the tight end. McQuarters and Alexander combine to bring him down, but they'll move the chains for the Aggies.
You know, big old Spiller now, he's the leading receiver on this football team with 15 catches coming into the game. And there at the line of scrimmage, he blocks and then goes outside, which buys some time for Stewart to get on the corner. But there was no question who Stewart was looking for. Spiller comes back, makes the good catch, buries his shoulder into the defender, and gets some more positive yards.
1st and 10 from the 45 of Oklahoma State. 2 receivers to the top. They go to the short side. Sir Parker. He's elusive.
And that's the same play they've been running all night with the big guy, Hamuli, pulling out in front of him. One of the things you want to do against a blitzing, complicated defense is have a few plays, know exactly what to do against the defense, and be able to execute them. And that's what they're doing right here. And guys like that right there are playing well in the offensive line tonight for Steve Marshall and the rest of these coaches at Texas A&M. Well, he's thick, isn't he? You stand next to him.
Big guy. The Aggies over 100 yards rushing. 2nd down and short. They'll put it up. And incomplete. That was the fastball from Brandon Stewart. He kind of double clutched and really ripped it towards Sir Parker. So it'll be 3rd down and 4.
What an atmosphere, huh?
It is tremendous.
Great place to play college football.
They don't have homecoming at Texas A&M because their philosophy is every weekend is homecoming, and they always pour out to watch the Aggies play. Big down here. Dante Hall loses it again. Then Terrell Knowles tackles him in the backfield. That is strange. Second time tonight, what looked like a good handoff is not handled by the sophomore Hall.
Well, it looks like he started to run before he had the football. You gotta. Possession is 9/10 of this game, and he should have been able to corral that. The ball was handed off a little bit high, but he's got to be able to get the football. But that's a good reaction by him of falling on top of it and not giving the ball up to Oklahoma State.
That's a huge play because it takes them out of the opportunity to perhaps go for it if it was 4th and short. Leckler the punt, and R.W. McQuarters let it go over his head, and it got in the end zone, so it'll be a touchback. A punt of 46 yards. 3 quick scores early in the football game, but for a while now we've been locked in at 13-7. 4:20 to go before the break. For Oklahoma State. Jamal Fobbs, and he runs into a stone wall, led by Warwick Holdman, the junior outside backer.
You know, Oklahoma State really likes the right side of their offensive line with Calvin Menifee and Adam Davis. And they are running in to some good players in Zarek Rollins and Warwick Holdman from A&M. And that guy right there told us last night, one of the things that they want to do with their offensive tackles is knock the defensive ends of Texas A&M off the football. And so far tonight, they're not able to do it.
Brian Aikens offset the lone back. Sprint out. Keeper for Lindsey and Rue to the 37-yard line. A design running play. Rich Cody, 48, brought him down.
Just when you think you've got this guy contained and under control, he makes the big play on you. And so far, I think the A&M defense has done a good job tonight. But you're going to see it's a cold run in the huddle because the wide receivers are going down and stalking the defensive backs and doing a good job of just holding them up. You can't expect the wide receiver to knock a DB down, but you can expect him to get in the way.
He did it that time.
Absolutely.
Slot to the top, Nathan Simmons, the lone running back, and he gets the call. Good tackle by Cody. He came up from his strong safety position and wrapped him up. Rich Cody, a former walk-on.
You know, he's the quarterback in that secondary. He makes all the adjustments. His dad, believe it or not, played for the Chicago Bears, where Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, obviously his father coached there, Buddy Ryan. But this guy is a good football player, and they describe him as a lunch-pail football player. Comes and does the job.
He's second on the team in tackles. Second down and 9. Lindsey's checking off. Option look short side, well defensed by the wrecking crew. And the play was blown up by Trent Driver. Inside linebacker got penetration, and Lindsey didn't have any option.
No, he didn't. And one of the things going into this game, it's a little difficult, more difficult to run the option on grass because on turf, artificial surface, you have the ability to cut and really get on the corner and the perimeter in a hurry. It looks like the grass tonight has slowed this guy down.
Third down and 9 for Oklahoma State. The season numbers running the football on Tony Lindsey. Lindsey will be sacked, and now a flag comes in. Brad Crowley was the one to bring him down. And it's against Oklahoma State.
It's going to be holding because what happened is Crowley beat his man underneath.
Holding on the offense. The penalties decline. 4th down.
And then the offensive lineman just tries to compensate by grabbing him.
You mentioned the turf and the fact that Tony Lindsey's accustomed to playing on turf. Bob Simmons' team haven't been on the road in almost 2 months. It's been 55 days since they had to leave Stillwater.
I know, 5 games at home plus 2 byes. So this is a little bit of a different environment for them and a little bit different week of preparation to go on the road. But he felt it was not going to be a factor in the game tonight. And I agree with him to be a factor.
Davis to punt. Dante Hall is going to stay away from it. It's a short punt, and it will be killed at the 42-yard line. 1:31 left. Good field position for the Aggies.
Well, the kicking game dictates field position, and that time it was a miscue by Davis, which gives A&M positive field position.
Windmill return. Correct, 29-yard punt, windmill return.
Cowboys leading by 6, 41-yard line for Brandon Stewart. R.C. Slocum said we need to throw it to win. We can't be one-dimensional. They've thrown it plenty. At times they've been effective, but they haven't been consistent yet.
No, their bread and butter tonight so far has been the running game.
Stewart wanted to pump and go. He got the pump, and then he went to the turf. Jamal Williams with the sack. And Texas A&M will try to get line surprise. Stewart was tipped away. Kenyatta Wright got in the passing lane. The middle backer, Leroy Hodge, was the intended target.
Now here's a situation now that people always second guess coaches. What do you do in a situation like this if you're on defense? Do you play zone or do you blitz? That time, Oklahoma State decided to play zone and fake the blitz, which is one of the reasons that Stewart overthrew the football.
Didn't see it, but we had a flag come in. Randy Crystal to tell us about it.
Ineligible receiver downfield. The penalties declined. Third down.
You know, I just noticed you and Randy Crystal must be from the same part of the country.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, the accent.
The accent?
Very,
absolutely.
Very similar.
Something that Texas A&M worked very hard on in practice the other day is the 2-minute drill and what to do and how to throw the ball in situations like this.
Well, so far, they're going backwards. Sir Parker will have a decent game, but I think R.C. Slocum is content to go into halftime trailing by 6.
Well, you know, in the passing game, if you make a mistake, you can give up a big play and a potential touchdown. And that's absolutely right. And I agree with him here. Why take a chance?
Well, now Bob Simmons' club will call timeout, and they'll try to at least get a return and maybe a couple of plays with 30 seconds left.
Don't forget to apply for your Aggie MasterCard with decision by
Big 12 football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you.
It's important to leave a positive impression on young people.
Leckler with the boot. Another strong punt. And McQuarters drops it. It's a nice hop. Flag comes in. And McQuarters is buried around the 20-yard line. We'll get it sorted out in a moment. While we do that, we'll take a look at the North Division standings in the Big 12. Nebraska at 5-0. They've already knocked off Kansas State. Nebraska would have to completely fall apart not to represent the North Division in the Big 12 championship game.
Well, they will, but here's a team right there, Missouri, that is really on the rise. They're 6-3 right now, 2 big wins in the last 2 weeks. That's a team that's going to go to a bowl game and should go to a bowl game.
And a team that may not go to a bowl game, which is unheard of the last 10, 12 years, is Colorado.
Illegal block in the back by the receiving team. Be a 5-yard penalty. First down.
And the South Division, Oklahoma State at 3-1, the Aggies at 2-2. So if Texas A&M can win, you have a 3-way tie atop the South Division. That is why this game is so important with just a few weeks left in the season.
And it's great for the Big 12 because you have 6 or 7 teams now that can go to a bowl game, and that just goes to show you the strength of the conference and to showcase it around the nation when you've got 6 to 7 teams playing in bowl games.
Well, Oklahoma State backed up, will just put a knee down, their own 5-yard line, and they will go to the locker room leading 13-7 at halftime. Both coaches know the importance of the game. Both coaches felt that their teams were well prepared. Bob Simmons has the lead over R.C. Slocum.
R.C. Slocum's got a record of 25-2 here at Texas A&M in the month of November, so we'll see how it plays out.
13-7 the score. We go west to Kevin Frazier in Los Angeles. Kevin?
Thanks.
After long drives, Texas A&M got a 1-yard run from Dante Hall. Total offense, the edge to the Cowboys. Time of possession, slight edge, pretty close football game. The 3 scores happened relatively early. Along with Artie Gigantino, I'm Drew Goodman. The defenses have come to the forefront now.
And especially Texas A&M's defense. They are shutting down Tony Lindsay, who only had 17 yards rushing in the first half.
This one should go down to the wire, and let's get it to the field and Greg Bell. Greg, what do you have?
And then at the halftime, I talked to R.C. Slocum. One of the things they're doing, is if we haven't noticed it yet, is putting Sir out wide. That's Sir Parker. One of the things they're trying to do is get a mismatch, trying to get one of the linebackers from that 46 defense and put him in a mismatch, and hopefully Sir will be able to make him miss one tackle and take it a distance. So far, they haven't been great. They haven't been lucky with it, but R.C. said they're going to stick with it.
All right, Greg, thank you. We'll look for that. Texas A&M will kick it to Oklahoma State to begin the third quarter. The Cowboys won the toss 7th time this year. They are 6-0 when they've won tosses this year. The lone time they lost the toss, as we talked about off the top last week, when they lost in double overtime to Missouri. And 6-7 yards deep, R.W. McQuarters, and R.C. Slocum. Puts his knee down. Nathan Simmons got Oklahoma State on the board early with a 1-yard run. Dante Hall got the Aggies even at 7, also from a yard away. The difference in this football game, a Brian Akins 1-yard run, and then Oklahoma State botched the extra point on a bad snap. So you're up to date.
But a lot of those things, those touchdowns, those 3 touchdowns were set up by big plays.
Staggered eye, Nathan Simmons, the deep back. And he keeps his legs moving for about 5 yards. Datwin made the tackle. R.W. McQuarters is on the bench right now. He had the big play opening the game, at least offensively, for Oklahoma State. He caught a 62-yard pass. It was really a jump ball, and he jumped higher than the DB.
And he deserves all the rest he can get, because he's got to go out. He's got to do a good job again in the second half. He's got to return punts, and you better believe we're going to see him again on offense.
Oklahoma State, the remainder of the regular season, will play without their All-American candidate tight end Alonzo Mays. He has a separated shoulder. Handed off to Kevin Brown, and he has 9 or 10 yards.
And I think you're going to see Oklahoma State now come out here in the second half and just try to pound the ball a little bit more inside and establish the run and maybe try to wear down this A&M defense.
11 rushing plays on first down, 3 passing plays for Oklahoma State. But we should mention Tony Lindsay is 6 of 8 throwing the football, so they've been effective when they want to put it up.
Absolutely, and they've been audibles, and he's had to do a lot of communicating tonight because of the noise to his wide receivers when he's done that.
Simmons again. And another good chunk of yardage on first down for Oklahoma State. Rich Cody, the strong safety, had to make the tackle.
Well, the key block that time was thrown by Josh Henson, the left guard. He pulls around. What they like to do, watch old Josh here now. He's going to pull around. What they like to do here at Oklahoma State is pull their guards and try to outman you at the point of attack. That's a nice job by him. He's a guy right now that is 6'2", 282 pounds, but he came here, he was 210 pounds. So he ate a lot of hamburgers. He was in the weight room for a long time, and now he's a big old guy, because he sure as heck ain't 210 anymore.
No, 210 maybe on his left leg. I think the biggest play in this football game came on a second quarter drive for a touchdown, actually a first quarter drive for a touchdown. 3rd and 23. We're going to show you that in a moment after this snap. It is 2nd down and about a half-yard to go for the first down. Lindsay takes it himself and picks up the first down. Again, a reminder that Oklahoma State playing without Alonzo Mays. They needed Garrett Staggs the backup tight end to step forward. It was 3rd and 23. Not a position any team wants to be in.
No, and it's a play-action fake, and they did not adjust the offense. They just adjusted the people. They had to continue to run their offense with or without Alonzo Mays, and that's good coaching. And Steggs is a good quality player, a guy who works very hard that the coaches think is going to be an outstanding player here.
They convert 3rd and 23 and go on to score the go-ahead touchdown. Kevin Brown picks his spot and runs it to the middle of the line. Brad Crowley was there. Also 51 defensively, Philip Myers, a senior outside backer from Galveston, Texas.
The Oklahoma State offensive line outweighs the defensive line of Texas A&M by 40 pounds. Crowley only weighs 270. Rollins 265. That win 215. So there is a little bit of an advantage from a beef standpoint to the Oklahoma State offensive line.
2nd and 7, slot to the top. The delay, Simmons. And this one closed down in a hurry. He had a little bit of a crease initially, then Trent Driver stepped into the hole.
You know, same play though. Josh Henson pulls around and he goes up inside and makes a block. They are running just a small variety of plays, but they're trying to run them effectively. And that's a good job by the offensive line of setting up, but it's really a good job by the A&M defense of swarming the football and getting a bunch of guys around the ball. And as you can see tonight, Oklahoma State is 1 for 4 on 3rd down conversions.
They need the Aggie 45. Blitz coming. Lindsey to run. He won't get there. Stopped after a yard gain. Dat Nguyen tripped him up.
Now, what Oklahoma State did that time is they lined up in 4 wide receivers and tried to stretch the field to give Lindsey some open. You got 2 over here and 2 over here, and what you're trying to do is get the defenders outside so Lindsey can drop back and pick his hole where he wants to go. But you gotta credit the A&M linebackers and secondary for putting a blanket over Oklahoma State.
His teammates to stay away from it. Not a good effort by Davis. And in the first half, he averaged only 36 yards a punt. So one of the best punters in the nation having an off night.
And he's punting into the wind. And what you got to do when you're punting into the wind is get more of a line drive, because if you try to get too much hang time, the ball hangs up in the air and comes back to your face. So he's got to try to get a little bit more of a line drive because the wind that time was coming back into his face.
Well, the Aggies with their first possession of the second half. Hall with the football, following Broyles into the hole, but there wasn't much of an opening. Jack Golden, we've called his name a few times tonight.
Boy, he's having an outstanding night. And, you know, the linebackers all play good here at Oklahoma State. Wright's a good player, Knowles on the other side, and Jack Golden. All make a lot of plays. All are very, very active linebackers that Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, really likes. He thinks they're the heart and soul of this 46 defense.
3 receivers to the top on 2nd and 9. Hodge in motion. Swing pass, Hall. They love to get him one-on-one. Kevin Williams hung in there, the corner, and did a good job in the open field in space.
A&M that time did exactly what Oklahoma State did the last time on offense. They lined up with no tight end, 4 wide receivers in the game. They're trying to spread the defense out, but Kevin Williams saw the swing pass coming, came off his man, and made a good tackle in the open field. Kevin Williams is an outstanding athlete, and that's not easy to do on a guy like Dante Hall in the open field.
3rd and 5. Stewart, late throw, complete for a first down. Snuck it in there to Aaron Oliver, the junior from Arlington. Oliver, the son of former star baseball player Al Oliver.
A&M's offensive line does a good job that time of picking up the blitz, but Stewart gets out on the corner now. They're going to run a little pick pattern out here. Guys coming inside, guys coming outside. Oliver goes inside, he comes back out. Stewart puts the ball right into his stomach. That's a well-executed play that time by Texas A&M.
Three-step drop, long route, and over the head of Chris Cole, who had a couple of strides, a good-looking sophomore from Orange, Texas. Texas A&M and Oklahoma State, a number of fine students. Tabor LeBlanc for Oklahoma State, our GTE Academic Player of the Game, a business major, and Kobe Hackrat for Texas A&M, our GTE Academic Player of the Game, a journalism major, and Bob Simmons' son, Nathan Simmons. We love talking about what he does in the classroom. He's a 3-4 student in psychology. He took 40 credit hours last year. He's going to graduate in 3 years. He's going to have a doctorate by the time he's done playing football. Handed to the big man, Tiki Hardiman, who's been rather quiet tonight. He hasn't had that many touches. Tiki Hardiman last week had a pretty big game in the loss, 16-13, as we have a flag in to Texas Tech. Tiki Hardiman over 100 yards rushing at a 56-yard carry in that game.
Nickname is Touchdown Tiki. He had 18 touchdowns a year ago, and he's a guy that can play fullback. He's a guy that can play tailback.
Holding on the offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty, and we'll replay second down.
Well, the nice run by Touchdown Tiki wiped out.
Well, 89, the right tight end here, Dan Campbell, looks like he holds somebody. Can't see it, can't see it, can't see it. But the official, I am sure, was absolutely correct.
So it'll be 2nd and 19 for Brandon Stewart. No quarterback rotation tonight for Oklahoma State, for Texas A&M. First time this year. Dante Hall, short gain to the 40-yard line. It'll set up third down and in the neighborhood of 14 yards. Jack Golden made the tackle. Now, we're being told that the lights have gone out, and there they are. A bank of lights is out above the press box. What is it? Wherever we go, the lights go out already?
It's got to be us, because what happened in Lawrence last week against Nebraska at the University of Kansas, the lights, a whole bank of lights went out for about 20 minutes. They continued the game, and this will not have an effect on the game here, but maybe it is us. That electricity we bring to the booth here.
Yeah, exactly. Third down and 15 for the Aggies. Stewart looking deep, has a man out there, and Cole couldn't bring it in. Kevin Williams recovered. Kevin Williams was beaten initially, but then recovered enough to get a hand on the football and distract Cole.
Well, the pass is thrown a little bit behind him, but he's got great recovery speed. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. He missed last year. That's why he's going to be an all-conference player this year. And you know that's a negative reaction that time by Brandon Stewart, because he wanted a little bit more oomph on that pass.
Shane Leckler had a big first half punting the football, and this is another large effort. It'll get into the end zone for a touchback, a punt of 60 yards. That won't hurt the old average for the number 2 punter in the United States. 13-7 count. Teams stepping forward that are not teams you think of that ordinarily to be at the top of conference standings. Washington State, Oklahoma State, another.
Absolutely.
Lindsey hands off, and Akins gets maybe a yard or two. Zarek Rollins wrestles him to the ground. Well, the Heisman Trophy race, I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite, Artie.
No,
Peyton Manning was the guy coming in.
That's the guy who got all the publicity, but right now, this guy, Ricky Williams, had a big day today. This guy who we just talked about are playing wonderful. This guy right here is playing on an outstanding team, and Katzenmoyer from Ohio State might be the best pure football player in the country. I would wait, if I were the Heisman voters, on the outcome of a couple more games before I decided who to vote for.
Lindsey keeps it. Good decision. First down to the 33-yard line. Rich Cody brought him down. Well, you mentioned Ryan Leaf. You'll get to see Ryan Leaf, obviously, in about an hour and a half, I'd imagine. We'll have that game. Washington State and Arizona State.
And you know, we talked at the beginning of the broadcast that Lindsey had a run for 125 yards tonight or thereabouts in order for Oklahoma State to win. Oklahoma State right now is winning the game, but the A&M defense is doing a good job of containing that guy. And one of the things, though, Oklahoma State is not doing, they're not attempting to run a lot of options.
Lindsey will bring it down again. And another first down and another tackle for Rich Cody. This guy is so poised for a redshirt freshman. Bob Simmons, there's a smile. We haven't seen that all night.
Well, that is straight. Just make a conversion, see what you can take, and go make the play. Because you know they don't practice it that way. That's all athletic ability from him. When Lindsey starts down the field, I think he ignores people. But here's a guy right there that knows that his buddy is going to be scrambled and makes a good block to get an extra 5 yards. Guys like Lindsey have a sixth sense that you cannot coach.
35 yards, 11 carries for Lindsey. Jamal Fobbs. Another big gain to the 35-yard line. Give him 20.
You know, that's great versatility by Fobbs. He makes a big-time block downfield, a play ago for his buddy Lindsey. Then they hand the ball off to him, and he gets about 15 yards. This guy, along with Nathan Simmons, is an outstanding 1-2 punch for this Oklahoma State Cowboy offense. And you know what's amazing about both of them? They've got to be the two smartest tailbacks in the country because both of their fathers are football coaches. They know something about the game of football, both of them.
You're right. His dad, Lee, an assistant at Southern Miss. Southern Miss won today earlier on Fox Sports Net. Jamal Fobbs with a short gain. Well, there used to be a quarterback rotation at Oklahoma State earlier in the season between Tony Lindsey and Chris Holupka. But Chris Holupka now watches from the sidelines as Tony Lindsey is the guy.
Well, there was no way they could justify taking Lindsey out of the game. And what Holupka brought to them was a little bit of a rest for Tony Lindsey. But Lindsey has clearly won his job.
Second down and 5 for the Cowboys. Akins knocking people over and getting the first down. I mean, he blew a hole of his own.
That's just good old determination.
By the way, let me correct something. Lee is an assistant coach now at Baylor, not any longer at Southern Miss.
And there's Chris Holupka. And, you know, he's a team guy. Obviously, he's not playing. He's probably disappointed, but he has maintained a positive attitude. He's had a good year, but the one thing he gives the Oklahoma State coaches, if for some reason Lindsey needs a break or Lindsey were to be injured, they have a guy they can go to who is experienced playing the game. So that's a good situation to have.
Steggs in motion, and Lindsey calls timeout. This has been the most impressive drive, Artie, since the first quarter for either team.
Well, what they're doing, though, they're mixing it up, they're running, they're passing, but the guy, number 10 at quarterback, Tony Lindsey, is making big-time plays, making conversions for him.
Boys are on the move. Drew Goodman, Artie Gigantino, Greg Bell. First and 10. Cowboys at the 24 of Texas A&M. Akins. No, Lindsey on a boot. What a fake. To the 1-yard line. He fooled everyone.
The feet of Tony Lindsey. That was a magnificent job that time of ball handling. It was a fake into the line of scrimmage, and he booted what we call a naked boot with no blockers out in front of him to the right. A good call by Les Miles, the offensive coordinator, but you got to credit Tony Lindsey, the man who is a master right now at handling the football. And again, when he moves the ball on the ground, this Oklahoma State offense moves.
79-yard drive. They're looking to make it 80. Simmons, oh man, he'll lose a couple of yards. Rich Cody was up tight to the line of scrimmage, and a bunch of other purple jerseys.
Now you're going to see Oklahoma State, I think, be patient in here and just try to pound the ball up inside. They've had the ball the majority of the third quarter so far, and they're going to try to wear Texas A&M's defense down. Texas A&M right now is playing very, very hard, but that guy right there, he's an old defensive coach. He knows when a defense gets tired, it's hard to stop the run. So he's going to try to continue to pound Texas A&M.
Second and goal at the 3. The wrecking crew trying to rise to the occasion. Lindsey, nowhere to go. Philip Myers stepped into the hole.
You know what? That's a goal line stand right there. And, you know, A&M has got to keep it up. What they have to do, they got to just keep doing it. They got to get a bunch of guys up in there. And you know what? They ought to put 3 or 4 more guys in there if they can. But they got to be careful because Lindsey might try to get outside.
Easy, coach, easy.
I'm fired up. Hey, call a blitz down there.
Bob Simmons concerned. It's now 3rd and goal outside the 2-yard line. Here comes 68,000. Lindsey got in, touchdown.
Hey, good job.
Barely.
Well, it quiets the crowd a little bit, and I hate to say I told you so, but that's the one thing that you have to be careful of down here is the fake into the line of scrimmage and the ball in the guy's hands who's got the magic feet. Again, a just absolutely perfect fake. He was going to throw the ball down the field. There's nowhere to throw it. Take it in yourself, find the corner of the end zone, and get in. This guy makes things happen.
Is there a whole long list of freshmen better than this guy in the country?
No, he is my freshman of the year and the newcomer of the year on offense in the Big 12. We're going for 2 here, Drew.
Because they missed the extra point earlier. Lindsey, shuttle, Simmons lost the football, and this play will be erased. So the 2-point conversion denied. But Oklahoma State ahead by a couple of scores, 19-7 in Aggie land.
Quiet there for a minute, but what A&M has got to do now, they've got to give this crowd some life by taking this drive and methodically work down the field.
Now Rush Schwetman has to kick into a pretty good win. Dante Hall should get a chance to return this. Sir Parker from the 9. Gets it to the 31-yard line. And they're still trying to tackle Sir Parker. He lost the ball, I think, momentarily, but they're going to give it to the Aggies.
Good swarm that time by Oklahoma State's kickoff team. Now here's the 2-point play. It didn't look like it was a great snap. It was a little shuffle play up inside, but obviously they didn't get a good handle on the football.
Now, Artie, what do you have in your hand there?
What I have here, Drew, is on my 2-point chart. Now what happens is coaches, when they're ahead or behind by, in that case, they were behind by 12. The coach says, well, what do I do? Go for 1 or go for 2? On the chart, though, it says, in that situation, you go for 2. So Bob Simmons did the right thing.
Parker puts it on the ground. Oklahoma State's on it. Jack Golden. Oh, what a big play that is. The Cowboys with the 12-point lead now have the football at the Aggie 21-yard line.
One of the things that plagued Texas A&M last week was turnovers. Here they try a little trickery, and Sir Parker never gets a handle on the football. It's bad enough when you fumble down the field and a defensive guy knocks the ball out of your hands, but when you get a pitch back like that, and Stewart looked like he did a nice job, on the pitch, you got to get a handle on the football.
First turnover of the night for either team. UCLA plus 16, Colorado State plus 12. The Aggies plus 10, the Cowboys at plus 7. Those are good numbers, and all of those schools you see there are good football teams.
And they're winning, and the turnover statistic is the most important statistic in professional football or college football, period.
Pop Warner as well.
Pop Warner and high school as well. Turnovers. Possession is 90% of the game.
There was a personal foul penalty against Oklahoma State. You can see that Oklahoma State also cashes in their turnovers, but instead of setting up at the 21-yard line, they're moving quick out. And catching the football, Sean Love, and knocking him down is Sean Horn.
Good read that time by Horn of seeing the ball thrown and timing and coming up. This guy was one of the top high school cornerbacks in the state of Texas. He's had a hamstring problem the last couple of weeks, but he certainly did not look like the hamstring was bothering him on that. He's also, Drew, one of the fastest guys on this A&M team.
Last year he missed one game. It was the Oklahoma State game with a concussion. They've missed his presence in the secondary. 2nd and 4. Again, they empty the backfield. Except for that man. And Warwick Holdman got him as Dat Wynn dove over the top. So it'll set up 3rd down and about 3 yards to go for Oklahoma State. And if you're an Aggie fan, you better hope they bull their neck here and the wrecking crew comes through, because with 2:15 and the clock moving in the 3rd quarter, they can't go behind by 3 scores.
Now you got to hold them to a field goal here at the worst, hopefully make them punt. They'll look for Bob Simmons to maybe go for it here on 4th down if they stay in this area.
Fobbs has blockers. He has a 1st down and more to the 15-yard line. Well designed, well executed.
Well, it's a counter play, and what happens, the linebackers get caught up inside. A counter play is designed to fool the linebackers, and you're going to see Dat Wynn here, number 9, come underneath the block. But when you come underneath the block like that and the ball is going outside, you cut yourself off from the pursuit. That's a good job by Wynn of hustling after the football, but when you come under blocks like that, you have no chance to flatten out and chase the ball down. The counter play fooled the linebacker that time.
74 yards on 8 carries for Fobbs. Here's his 9th carry. And he gets 5 more. He's slippery.
You're starting to see that big offensive line now of Oklahoma State start to wear down this Texas A&M defense.
Josh Henson had a good block on that play on Dat Wynn.
I'll tell you, the guy that deserves a lot of credit besides Bob Simmons is a guy by the name of Les Miles. Les Miles is their offensive coordinator. He's up in the booth. He's done just a wonderful job with Bob Simmons with this offense. They do a lot of different things, and they're very, very productive.
Akins. And maybe he got a yard. Good reaction by the Aggie defense. 51 getting up last is Philip Myers. Stephen Young, nose tackle, also in there. 3rd down and 4 yards to go for the Cowboys.
Akins was injured at the beginning of the year, played off and on in the first 5 games, but he is healthy now, and he has added an element to this offense where a big guy, I cannot call him a Gibb anymore, Drew. He's no longer a guard in the backfield. He's a ball carrier right now in the backfield. I will never call Akins a Gibb anymore.
No more Gibb for Akins. We'll remove the nameplate. Well, nowhere to go that time again. Closing it down was Zarek Rollins, who has been playing good football all season long. The left defensive end, a senior from Houston. And I imagine Bob Simmons will bring Tim Sidness onto the field to go for 3. Though I think he'll do it after the 3rd quarter expires. Oklahoma State, after 3 chapters, leads 19-7 at Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. For Tim Sidness, he's perfect this year from this distance, 2 of 2 from the far hash mark.
Jason Webster, number 39 from A&M, blocked 2 field goals last week against Texas Tech.
But he didn't get this one. Oklahoma State increases their lead to 22-7. The separation, 15 points. That's a big field goal there, because A&M now needs 2 touchdowns and at least 1 2-point conversion.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if you're Oklahoma State, you want to be conservative a little bit here on defense. You don't want to give A&M a big play. You want to be smart in the kicking game, and you want to continue to run the football.
Well, they've been able to run the football. Texas A&M needed to make some big plays in the passing game. They wanted to come out and throw it. In fact, they threw it the first 4 plays of the football game. They haven't made any big plays.
I know, and you know, it's kind of out of character for R.C. Slocum. He's a defensive guy that would like to just run the ball down people's throats. But he got talked out a little bit because of the 46 defense from Oklahoma State. He got talked out of it in his mind of running the football at him and said, hey, Artie, we have got to come out and throw the football against these guys. This guy is an amazing guy. He's got a great November record at 25-2. And I think he is one of the best unknown coaches in the country. He's got the 5th best winning percent of all active coaches, and guys like Tom Osborne and Joe Paterno are at the top of that list. But this guy, outside of Texas, I'm not sure enough people know about what a wonderful job he's done here.
He's a wonderful guy, very genuine, very likable person. His players love him. Russ Schwetman to kick it deep. Dante Hall of the Aggies back at the 4-yard line. Chigantino go back a little ways. They coached together at Southern Cal back in 1981. We asked RC about the coach.
Artie is one of those guys that he loves this game too. If you could get him to have a little bit more enthusiasm, I think he might be a great television announcer. Great guy, did a good job. We worked very closely together on the defensive staff at Southern Cal, and I'm very happy for what he's doing now. He seems to be enjoying it, and the stories that we have on each other, we won't tell.
We had to pay him a lot of money to say something nice about Joe, I'll tell you that. Sir Parker in the flat. 19 yards for Parker before Ricky Thompson brought him down.
One of the things they wanted to do going into this game was get the ball to Parker outside. That time Oklahoma State was not playing tight bump coverage. You see the fake inside, freezes the linebackers, freezes the defensive backs, throws the ball outside to Parker, and Parker gets up the field. That is called run after catch. He had 15 yards that time running with the football after the catch.
A&M on only 15 yards of total offense in the 3rd quarter. Another screen set up. Dante Hall to the 34-yard line. 2 plays, and they're a whole lot better than they were the entire 3rd quarter. Trent Alexander.
In practice the other day, A&M worked very diligently on the screen game. They thought because Oklahoma State comes up the field so fast, they can get screens. And as you can see, there are no defenders there because the guy that was supposed to cover Dante Hall got kind of caught up inside. Good scheme, but screen should be a bigger part of what A&M is going to do here in the 4th quarter tonight.
Too tight, and before Brandon Stewart could get the football snapped, a timeout called by Oklahoma State. 14:21 to go in the 4th quarter. The Cowboys leading the Aggies 22-7. We were talking a moment ago about the passing offense for Texas A&M.
One of the things they wanted to do was run crossing type patterns, and they've had a couple of near misses like this one here to Coles. Williams does a wonderful job of recovering and making the play. The ball is thrown a little bit behind Cole, but they've had some near misses. And the one thing Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach, and Steve Marshall in the next year or so into being those big-time receivers for them.
Toss sweep, Parker. To the 29-yard line. I don't know how, because there was nothing going on there. Jack Golden will get credit for the tackle. Big 12 alliances. Last year there were 2 alliance teams, Texas and Nebraska, coming out of this conference. The Orange Bowl will take the conference champ, you would figure. Nebraska the heavy favorite at this point, but you could see 6 teams from this conference going bowling.
And the Alamo Bowl representatives and the Holiday Bowl people are here watching this game tonight.
Hardiman and Parker. Stewart in the hands of Derek Spiller, their leading receiver, who has just 1 catch tonight.
You know, going back to the bowl games for a second, you can always spot a bowl representative in the press box.
He's got an ugly jacket.
He's got you said ugly, but a bright jacket, yellow or red. Those two guys from the Holiday Bowl, who I had a nice discussion with last night, are good guys, but they've got these bright red blazers on. I'm not sure I could wear one of those.
I think you'd look great in one of those.
6-1 this season for Oklahoma State, and as you said in the open, the last winning season, 1988, they did go to the bright jacket place, the Holiday Bowl.
That was Barry Sanders' show-off year. He won the Heisman. Stewart on a throwback. That's erased by Terrell Knowles. The tight end screen to Dan Campbell. Knowles has played tremendous football all year long for Rob Ryan's defense.
And Rob Ryan said Knowles was the one guy that really played well the other night against Missouri. Now what you're going to see here is Campbell, number 89, block and then go out for a screen, but Knowles just reads it perfectly. He times it, and that guy right there has got to be happy so far tonight with his defense and the way he's performing. And I don't think that's a blitz he just called. I think that's his own defense.
4th down and 12. They need the 24-yard line. Stewart, short drop. Now he's going to run. Good move. And he fumbled it out of bounds, and that one will come back to where he fumbled it on 4th down by rule, and Texas A&M will turn it over to Oklahoma State.
And I was right. What happened? Oklahoma State did not blitz. They dropped off, they rushed for, and they played a zone defense, and that's what confused Stewart, which made him scramble. You see him here, he's running with the football, he gets hit, the ball gets jarred loose, and it goes out of bounds. But either way, it would have been Oklahoma State's football.
Kevin Williams had the open field tackle, and he stopped him 3 yards short. If he gets past Williams, he would have picked up the first down. And now Oklahoma State can work the clock with 12:40 to go in the 4th quarter and a 22-7 lead. Simmons, he's met in the hole by Dat Wynn. What a short tackler. You know, here's a guy, usually you talk about guys coming from high school and gaining weight to play college football. He's lost 15 pounds since his high school days.
Well, he was kind of a little porky guy is what he described himself as when he came out of high school. But here's a guy that might be as dedicated a player as there is in the country right now. Not only to the mental part, but the physical part of developing himself to being a good football player.
Counter. Simmons. And another big hit around the 29-yard line. This time it was Marcus Hurd, the nose tackle, making his way down the line of scrimmage. Clock is stopped with 11:56 to go, 22-7. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Now, speaking of Hurd, he's a guy, he lost 20 pounds earlier in the year. He was sick, and he's just started to gain it back. And Bill Johnson, the defensive line coach, really likes his young defensive line, but he also likes the seniors like Hurd.
Well, Jeremy Offit jogs off. Looks like he might have twisted one of those big legs.
And, you know, he's the center, so they have to be careful here now, because usually when you put a new center in the game, the chance of a fumble on the exchange goes up. So Lindsey's got to be careful he doesn't pull out too soon.
Raynell Levine is the center. 3rd and 7 for the Cowboys. Keep it on the ground. Simmons tackled from behind by Holdman, 3 yards short of a first down. So the wrecking crew does their job.
But one of the things that's happened is the conservative nature of the play calling right now by Oklahoma. They're obviously trying to run the ball, pound them up inside, use as much of the clock as they possibly can. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off the defense when the offense is going to just try to grind it out and chew up the clock.
Not a factor yet, but something to file away. Oklahoma State has 1 timeout left. The Aggies have 3. Huge punt by Davis. Hall driven back to his 12-yard line. And Hall may be 1 step away from making one of those big plays he's known for. Stopped at the 29. And we step aside for a moment. 10:45 to go in College Station. The Aggies on the short end. touchdowns, 3 different players. Akins, Simmons, and Lindsey.
And Lindsey coming alive here now in the second half, rushing the football.
Third quarter possession time. The Aggies barely touched it. They had only 15 yards of total offense. By the way, that 3 and out for the Cowboys last possession, the first time they've gone 3 and out all night. Texas A&M needs a touchdown. Long post route. It's over the head of Chris Cole. He's been the man. Brandon Stewart has tried to hook up with, but again, they fail to make a connection.
Well, he runs a 4-4, and you know, some people might say, well, why do you do that so early here? You got plenty of time, but I think it's a good ball. You got a lot of space. The ball is, you know, back on the 30-yard line. You've got 70 yards in which to have Cole run under a deep pass. So I think that was a good call that time by the quarterback offensive coordinator, Steve Marshall.
Total offense by half. Great balance for the Cowboys. The Aggies have struggled. Cowboys rush 4. Stewart in trouble. And he'll be dropped. It won't count as a sack because he actually picked up a yard, but it might as well have been. Zach Aiken got him from behind.
You know, Stewart's an interesting guy. He went to the University of Tennessee, came in with Peyton Manning in the same recruiting class, and Stewart was actually the backup, and Manning was going to redshirt. But then the quarterback got injured, and the coaches decided that Peyton Manning was their man of the future, so Brandon Stewart then decided to transfer here to Texas A&M.
3rd and 9. Leroy Hodge.
Well, that's where that 6'2" height really comes to an advantage. He's 6'2", 205 pounds. Good concentration on the football. He goes up. He was a good basketball player in high school and brings it in. That is the type of receiver play that the Texas A&M coaches have been looking for all year. And that guy's a good athlete. He's from Rosenberg, Texas. Does a lot of good things. He's only a sophomore, though.
That was a huge catch because it kept the drive alive at midfield. Stewart on the roll. Quick throw to Parker. And Parker's drilled.
Pass complete to number 8, Sir Parker.
Andrew Waddle made the play. Let's take a look again at your keys to the game for Texas A&M and how they've graded out.
Well, they've got to prevent big plays. We talked about so far they have not done that. They've given up a couple of big plays. Throwing to win. They have been unable to throw effectively to win. And then the kicking game, which right now to me I think is just a push. Both teams have been solid. Neither have had a big play in the kicking game so far. So A&M right now is only 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3 won't get it done, will it?
Not right now.
Baseball it will, though. Stewart sacked from behind. The omnipresent Terrell Knowles.
You know, in the end here, if Oklahoma State wins this football game, you got to give the credit to the linebackers of Oklahoma State for covering and doing a good job. Now that time, Sir Parker looked open, but Stewart might have seen him, but when he goes to reset himself, he just gets buried alive there by Knowles. So, you know, he might have seen him. Parker might have been open, but it didn't happen.
3rd and 13, they need the +40. Down the middle, complete first down, 28-yard line. Matt Bumgardner. So Brandon Stewart throwing strikes on 3rd down to keep the chains moving. That was the best throw of the game for Stewart.
Absolutely, and good protection inside that time by the offensive line. And it's like you said before, if you just keep going downfield, you're going to make a couple of plays, and that's what they did. They just went back to it. Oklahoma State, though, that time was playing zone and not man. They're a better man-to-man team than they are a zone team.
Bumgardner's first catch of the evening. 1st and 10, Tiki Hardiman barrels his way to the 19-yard line, in advance of 8. Kenyatta Wright, Jack Golden combined for the tackle, but Texas A&M on the move with 7.5 minutes left.
And when you say barrel, when you're talking about Hardiman, you mean barrel, because that guy is 5'11", 235 pounds, and he can really hit it up in there.
Last year he had a 95-yard run against Baylor, so he can get up and go a little bit. Dante Hall, oh, great play. That's the middle backer, Kenyatta Wright. Didn't have a great game last week against Missouri, but he stepped forward tonight.
He's the defensive quarterback of his Oklahoma State defense. He makes all the checks at the line of scrimmage. He wants to be a coach someday, but watch him right here. He's right here, and he's going to just hit it inside out and just make the perfect tackle. He reads it, he waits, he gets a jump on it. Get caught up inside. He's got to get his head up a little bit, but that's a big tackle for a loss, but he read it perfectly.
Now it's 3rd and 3. They lost a couple. Taylor in motion. They go to Hall, and Hall will have, I believe, enough for the first down, barely. R.W. brought him down. He needed 3 yards. I think he got 3 yards and 2 inches.
Well, from the reaction of the crowd, it's definitely a first down.
6:30 left as R.C. Slocum with 3 consecutive running plays. That's all well and good. The problem is the clock is no longer his ally.
Absolutely. And you know, talking to RC and the offensive coaches, they have a lot of different personnel groupings that they bring into the game. That's why you're seeing so much substitution. And Drew, 9 plays, 55 yards, but it's chewing up too much time. 4 minutes and 29 seconds.
Stewart, complete. Good grab by Oliver in front of Kevin Williams. And all of a sudden, Brandon Stewart has come alive. He's delivering the football, Artie.
Well, you know, that's his possession guy, Aaron Oliver. And when he throws the ball, you can always tell by looking at a quarterback whether it was a good play, a bad play, or completion. And yes, that's got to be a completion or a touchdown there by his reaction.
There's a pickup of 9, 2nd and 1. The ball at the 8-yard line. Aggies trail by 15 in the flat drop by Broyles, and that just as well for Texas A&M that Broyles dropped the football because Kenyatta Wright was going to tackle him for a 1-yard loss, and the clock would have kept moving.
And you know, that's a surprising call because Broyles doesn't catch many passes. You know, Stewart, you look at him, he's 7 for 10 for 97, almost 100 yards, but it might be a little bit too late for A&M to catch up here.
Well, no question they have to punch it in for 6 and then play good defense, and they should get it back. Ball cuts it back. Ball trying to shake free to the end zone. It'll be 1st and goal for the Texas Aggies at the 3. Ricky Thompson held on and saved the touchdown.
That's the kind of play you want to call down on the goal line because a guy like Hall can then use his vision to pick the hole. Oklahoma State is going to have 10 guys around the line of scrimmage to try to stop the run.
Block by Tiki Hardiman. The Aggies are not done yet.
And you got to go for 1 here. You got to kick the PAT, and if you score again, then you make the decision whether to go for 2 or not. There's another happy Aggie, man. Everybody gets to kiss their date here, Drew, well, you know, whenever they score.
When you come here, you hope for a big game and a lot of points if you're an Aggie fan. 22-14 Cowboys. And they kick it on the ground. Nathan Simmons plays shortstop. And he gets it to the 25-yard line.
Look easy. Look easy, man.
Big 12 football on Fox Sports Net. has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines with Fare So Low you have the freedom to go places. By GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA, and by Burger King, where you can get your...
This is rocking.
Well, they need to step forward here. They need the football back, trailing by 8. Lindsey to throw. He's got Greg Brown, the third-team tight end, and Brown has a first down, so Bob Simmons will not go conservative.
No, what you do, you take the Texas A&M defense and you knock them off balance a little bit by coming out and throwing on first down. Now, coming into the game, though, Texas A&M thought that they would throw the ball on first down. They haven't as much tonight, but A&M was prepared for it. But that time, obviously, they weren't.
It was a first down. Lindsey will milk the play clock. Jamal Fobbs, maybe a yard and a half. Trent Driver, Datwin, the two inside backers, made the tackle. And despite all of that noise, I think Oklahoma State has handled it well. It goes back to practice during the week.
Well, they work on it all the time, and most people that are going into loud environments work on the noise factor.
Timeout called by Texas A&M. They have 2 left. 4:21 to play. 22-14. Oklahoma State here. 2nd and 9. The ball at the 37-yard line of the Cowboys. Lindsey again will throw. In the flat, Greg Brown driven out of bounds, and that'll stop the clock. But Brown picked up about 4 or 5 yards. Timeout situation. The Aggies still with 2, and again they get a break there because the clock is stopped with 4:14 to go. And it'll be 3rd down and 4.
And Greg Brown tried to stay in bounds that time. He just got knocked out of bounds. It's imperative in 2-minute situations that everybody, every receiver, every back, quarterbacks, DBs, know the time situation.
2 receivers to the top. Akins alone in the backfield. Lindsey looks like he's going to keep it. He got a first down. He slipped the tackle of Brandon Jennings and got the first down. Jennings had him dead to rights, a little subtle move, and 4 fresh downs for Bob Simmons' club.
Well, that's called athleticism that time by Tony Lindsey. He gets outside, but you're going to see these guys right here do a wonderful job of controlling the line of scrimmage, get into their man, keep their hands on him, drive him off the ball, and give Lindsey a perimeter edge to get on the corner there to find a hole and get the first down. Started by the offensive line, finished by that guy, Tony Lindsey.
Put it in the hands of your best player, and without Mr. Mays, their All-American tight end candidate, their best player is Tony Lindsey. And a nice move by the coach's kid. Nathan Simmons gets about 6 yards.
You know, he's a strong guy. He squats 500. He can bench press 350 pounds. He runs a 4.5. He does a lot of things.
Timeout called by Texas A&M. They now have 1 remaining. 47-yard line of Texas A&M. Simmons stumbles, falls at the 50, a loss of a couple. And Texas A&M will not use their final timeout here. Clock moving inside 3:25 to play in the 4th quarter. 22-14, Oklahoma State.
Well, there looked like there was some confusion that time between the blocking scheme up front and who was supposed to get the ball. What Oklahoma State cannot do right now is lose its poise. Just take your time, execute the play that's called.
Do you throw it here?
No.
Lindsey throws it, it's incomplete. Tried to get it to Garrett Steggs, and they'll have to punt, and the clock is stopped with 2:55.
I hate to be right all the time, Drew, but I just think there you ball off and keep trying to pound Texas A&M up inside. It was the right idea. It was a good play call, but like you said, it stops the clock, which benefits A&M here.
Now the Aggies will have all sorts of time. The clock won't be a problem when they get the football. But one thing Oklahoma State accomplished was moving the football to midfield. You figure they're going to back up Texas A&M and make them drive the length of the field.
Because they have the wind here, too, now. This ball should be kicked into the end zone.
Jason Davis, the punter. Low line drive, and it dives at the 1 and then crawls into the end zone, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line. And a flag did come down back near the line of scrimmage,
where the punt team is a little bit tired. They can't cover 2 kicks full speed in a roll like that because that's about a 50-yard sprint. So I think R.C. Slocum is agreeing with me here, and he's going to make him punt again.
On the kicking team, it'll be a 10-yard penalty, and we'll replay 4th down.
And you also have a game breaker in number 34, Dante Hall, one of your best players offensively. Dante Hall averaging 13 yards a return. He had a 70-yarder for a touchdown earlier in the year.
Well, here, if Hall gets the ball is going to be a long kick because he's got the wind with him. He's got a chance to return it because if indeed it goes to true form here, Davis will outkick his coverage because he's got the wind.
This is a line drive. Ball at the 18. Trying to get to the corner. Now he heads backwards and is dropped at the 25.
Know what he thinks about that, because one of the things you don't want to ever do as a coach is have 12 guys on the field. And I understand what happens. It's a tense situation. There's a lot of pressure on you. You have a nickel defense going in. Somebody doesn't hear on the sidelines, and sometimes you get 12 guys. You just don't want it in situations like this.
1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Stewart outcut over the head of a wide-open Chris Cole, and Brandon Stewart is going to remember that one if Texas A&M is unable to move the football into the end zone. He had them all by himself.
He did, but what's happening here, Oklahoma State is playing zone defense. We've talked all the broadcast tonight that they are more of a man team, but they're playing zone in an attempt to confuse Stewart a little bit. And that time, Stewart just overthrew it. But as you said, Drew, he was wide open. Now you're going to see only a 3-man rush here this time from Oklahoma State.
6 defensive backs in the game. Screen set up. Parker keeps his feet. To the 49 of Oklahoma State. Should be a 1st down. Clock is stopped with 1:57 to play as they move the chains.
A screen again, that time against zone defense. That's tough to run, but Parker took a negative play and made it into a positive play.
1 timeout remaining for the Aggies. They need. And they're going to be backed up 5 yards.
Looked like big old Cameron Spikes, number 73, the right tackle, moved that time.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and remain 1st down.
Every yard in this situation is critical. You can't go backwards right now if you're Texas A&M. And Spikes hasn't played the last couple of weeks. He had an eye injury, but he's got to be in there and he's got to be concentrating on each and every play and not move.
They rush 3, and again, the play is whistled dead.
You know what happened that time, Drew? Oklahoma State faked like they were going to blitz, and again, it looked like Brandon Stewart used too much time or he moved.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and remain 1st down.
Well, you can't go backwards, not in this situation, obviously.
No, and that's 2 negative plays now in a row for Texas A&M. They've got to just settle down a little bit and get the play called so they can execute it. It doesn't matter if everybody hears the play and you don't execute it properly. But right now, they've just got to relax. And the coaches at Texas A&M have been over this situation many, many times with this quarterback and with this offensive team. So they should be ready for it. The only thing you don't get in practice is obviously the crowd noise and the intensity level of the game. And speaking of intensity, there's a couple core members from Texas A&M that are real serious about what's going on here tonight.
That's the expression they've worn all night.
I know.
Stewart, man wide open. 89, that's Dan Campbell. Short of a first down by a yard. He got 19. Now how big are those 2 penalties? That would have been all the way inside the 30-yard line. Instead, it's at the 40-yard line. 2nd down and 1. Movement up front. Stewart with time. Out route, completes it. Hot get one down. Yes, he did. Good throw in front of Evan Howell. Leroy Hodge.
You know, just when you don't think Stewart can do it, just when he makes a couple of bad throws, he comes back with a couple of bullets, and that's a wonderful pass. And obviously, it gets out of bounds and stops the clock by the big guy, Leroy Hodge.
57 seconds left. 1st and 10 at the plus 25-yard line for the Aggies. And Oklahoma State will come to the sideline. Bob Simmons, Rob Ryan, they want to converse. A reminder for those of you who've hung in there, we have another great football game tonight. Washington State and Arizona State, our Pac-10 game of the week. Ryan Leaf leads the Cougars against the defending Pac-10 champion Sun Devils.
And there's a couple Schneiders in this country, the guy at Kansas State, Bill Schneider, and the guy at Arizona State by the name of Bruce Schneider, who are just 2 wonderful, outstanding coaches.
57 ticks left, 22-14 Oklahoma State. Well, the executive producers of Fox Sports Net are Arthur Smith and Bill Borson. The coordinating producer of College Football Saturday is Roy Hamilton. Tonight's game has been produced by Mike Helling, directed by Ken Fouts. The head of our field operations, Andrea Jenkins. And those folks work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our crews worked hard tonight. Those camera guys, those guys who hold the parabolic microphones.
And it's just a great job of capturing the atmosphere here. But you can see this drive right now is 4 plays plus a couple penalties for 50 yards. But, you know, they're doing it quickly, 1 minute and 37 seconds only.
Keep in mind that this was the 93rd rated passing team in the country. So they're doing something they don't like to do, throw the football. And they're doing it okay right now. Of Hardiman. And a flag comes in. Are they going to call grounding? Stewart running to point out Tiki Hardiman.
I think that's what it is. If I were him, though, I probably would have run out of bounds to make it clean.
There's no flag on the play. There was a receiver in the area. 2nd down.
And you know what? That's a terrific job by that officiating crew led by Randy Crystal. You get together and you make the right call.
And this is why it's a good call, because number 20, Tiki Hardiman, is there. He's a receiver in the area. And that was the proper call that time by the officials. There was an eligible receiver within the area. And that was a good decision by him because he didn't get a penalty. But I still would have run out of bounds if I were him.
2nd and 10 at the 25, 49 seconds left. They bring 5. Stewart toward the end zone. Touchdown! Chris Cole got zone, but they need the two-point conversion.
Chris Cole, the man from R.C. Slocum's hometown of Orange, Texas. A&M's got to go for two here.
And Brandon Stewart will use the last timeout for Texas A&M. And I think that's the right call. You better be on the same page with the coaching staff here. The game comes down to this play. Either you are successful and you have an opportunity perhaps for overtime, or Oklahoma State probably hangs on.
This is what they worked on all week. Two receivers playing against the man coverage that time of Oklahoma State. And Cole gets Williams completely turned around. That is a great job of running a route that time by Chris Cole. And you know Stewart's was a successful play for Texas A&M. But that pattern they worked on in practice on Thursday. They did it yesterday. It's something that they felt was vital to the success of their offense in this game. You see Steve Marshall and Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator there, talking to R.C. Slocum about what play to run down here, Drew. What would you do? You're the offensive coordinator. What would you run?
Well, Brandon Stewart is very athletic. And in these situations, when you have an athletic quarterback, I like the run-throw option, go to the corner.
I do too, and I would try to do some kind of pick pattern out of a slot formation where one receiver goes inside, another receiver comes outside, or a back goes outside out of the backfield. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Look for the back to go into the end zone.
Here we go. Catch by Sir Parker. Artie, they blitzed the outside backer, and Stewart threw it to the vacated area, and Parker had to go down to his shoe tops to make the catch.
And it's what I talked about. It was a pick play, and you're going to see both outside receivers come inside, take the defenders with them because they're playing man for man, and Sir Parker in the backfield sneaks out underneath the pick and is wide open and for a touchdown. That's the type of pattern that you want to run against a man-to-man team, Drew, and they worked on it the other day. That's why I knew it was coming.
Artie, I'll tell you what, for a team that had struggled moving the football for 3 quarters, 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns under the gun, and what a job for Brandon Stewart in his first full-fledged start since the beginning of the season, because he's been sharing time.
Absolutely, and you know, you gotta say though that the conditioning factor here for Texas A&M is really starting to take place. They look like they're playing full speed. They had a hard third quarter, but they're flying around right now.
You still have 43 seconds left if you're Oklahoma State. Good return, few good plays, and perhaps a long field goal. So it's not assured that we're going to play overtime just yet.
But you know what? This is college football. Goes down to the wire. The atmosphere is just fantastic, and you never know who's going to be the hero because there's 22 guys on that field right now, and any one of them could end up being a hero.
Kyle Bryant will kick it deep into a strong wind. The dangerous R.W. McQuarter is back at his own 10 in the middle. Kevin Williams lost the football, and he fell back on it, I believe. Oklahoma State, every fan of the Cowboys' heart skipped a beat there.
You talk about great kickoff coverage. That ball just got caught up in the wind a little bit, but you had a bunch of guys in a maroon jersey running down the football field with reckless abandon that were going to make a play. Now, Williams is not your normal kickoff return guy. McWaters is the guy that they want to have the ball deep, but that ball just gets stripped out of Williams' hands, and McWater makes a wonderful play of coming back and recovering it because that could have been a disaster.
Well, you know, nobody was going to work harder to get the football than the guy who dropped it.
Absolutely.
They're going to keep it on the ground, play conservative. Jamal Fobbs. Gets out of bounds at the 30-yard line with 29 seconds left.
Well, you
Does
know
this change the strategy for Bob Simmons?
No, I just think he wants to move the chains a little bit, but it's a good call because everybody in this place, including you and I, are thinking pass. The defensive linemen rush up the field. The DBs are dropping back, hand the ball off, and get 20 yards on a run. That's a good call.
Again, no timeouts left for either team.
This is all strategy here now. See what happens. Three-man rush this time by the A&M defense.
He'll throw it, and it is bounced to Fobbs coming out of the backfield. And also a flag comes in, just in case. Tim Sidness getting ready for the Cowboys. They have a long way to go before they can trot number 14 out onto the field, however.
You know, the indications on the sideline are that it's roughing the passer.
Well, they're walking off 15 yards. Randy Crystal will tell us about it. You're right, roughing the passer. Well, that is not a foul you want to commit. Not in this situation, not ever really.
No, and R.C. Slocum is not going to be happy about that. But Steve Young, number 90, knocks the quarterback down. You can't do that after he's thrown the football.
23 seconds to go. Oklahoma State with a legitimate shot if they can move the football about 25 yards. Lindsey will get it out of bounds at midfield. 17 seconds left.
He showed poise that time, not seeing a receiver down the field. Texas A&M is in a maximum zone, so he just runs out of bounds. Good, smart, poise that time by the young freshman Tony Lindsey.
Sidness's longest field goal this year, 49 yards. He's 0 for 3 beyond 50. So they really needed to get it about another 21 yards to have a realistic shot. Pressure coming. Away to Simmons. And he is stopped right around the sticks. And they will stop the clock with 8 seconds to go. Again, in college football, if it's a first down, the clock stops. So really what you need here is a quick out that takes less than 8 seconds, and then you can get your field goal unit on the field.
If you can get it. And what's happening, A&M has got so many guys playing zone defense deep, they cannot throw the ball down the field, which is causing Lindsey to throw the ball underneath.
Well, they spike it. And Tony Lindsey walks to the sideline. If they tried to kick it from where they are right now, this thing would be a monumental field goal, a 62-yard attempt. But the wind is at Sidness's back, and that's why Bob Simmons is going to try it.
Well, why not? Because of all what you just said. You've got a decent wind or a good wind at your back. Hey, you never know. You might be able to just put it up through. It'll be an exciting end either way.
62 yards for the win. It's going to be short. And we will play overtime. And Bob Simmons knows all about overtime. He's played 4 now in the last 2 years. And last week, a 2-point conversion that failed for Oklahoma State cost him a game against Missouri in double overtime. Brandon Stewart completed one to serve Parker, and that's why we'll have overtime in College Station. Possession at the opponent's 25-yard line. The team that scores first must hold the opponent scoreless, obviously, and if you kick a field goal and you have the ball second, you want a touchdown. This is what happened a week ago, double overtime, trailing by 1, they go for 2, and the Cowboys were denied, and Missouri and Larry Smith won 51-50. I think Bob Simmons is tired of 2-point conversions offensively and defensively.
He needs a 2-point coach right now on his staff, and here's R.C. Slocum's offensive staff calling the play. They get Sir Parker into the end zone. It takes his baby into overtime.
Artie, this is the most important play right now of the game, the coin toss. You want to play defense first.
Yeah, because then you know what you have to do, because if the other team does not score, obviously you get yourself into field goal range and kick the field goal. Or if they score a touchdown and then miss the PAT, you know you have to get a touchdown and kick the PAT. So it's an advantage if you play defense first.
Arthur, the Aggies won the toss. And Kyle Bryant, he had the assignment right. You don't want to fail that test. You want to make sure you say, we want to play defense.
Absolutely. And he's a young man that's an interesting story because he was named after this field here. Can you imagine that? His parents were such great Aggie fans that they named their son after this field here. So you know he had to come here.
And Kyle Bryant's one of the better kickers in the country, and he was born and raised here in College Station. Now, is there an advantage for Bob Simmons in Oklahoma State because last week they played an overtime affair? In fact, it's double overtime affair.
No, I just think it's something that you have to work on in practice. I think coaches don't want to be in overtimes as much as they can avoid it. But I'll tell you what has happened in college football is people right now are playing better in the red zone because of the overtime rules. You have to practice in this part of the field more than ever before. So there's more efficiency right now in the red zone, but there's also more efficiency in the overtime because it's something you have to practice a lot. And that guy had some battle scars, as we talked to him last night about from last week.
You know, 4 overtimes the last 2 years. This is the Aggies' first overtime venture. A reminder. Oh, it's tremendous. Brown, the lone setback. Lindsey, late throw, incomplete at the 14-yard line. Willie Grissom, the intended target. Again, there is no clock in overtime. As you look at our Fox Sports Net Fox box, no clock in overtime. Each team a possession at the plus 25-yard line, or the opponent's 25-yard line, if you will.
And there's a cadet talking to his date, wondering if he still gets kisses in the overtime. What are the rules in the stands here? Does the cadet still get kissed?
Artie, when in doubt, kiss your neighbor.
Absolutely.
2nd and 10, blitz. Fox sneaks through for about 4 yards. Brandon Jennings made the tackle. It looked like that play was going to go for bigger yardage.
Well, Jennings was the safety sitting in the middle, and he closed the gap in a big-time hurry. And I'll tell you, the A&M defense right now is alive. That was wonderful swarm that time. A bunch of guys in those dark helmets and dark jerseys running to the football.
3rd down and 6. 2 receivers to the top. Simmons is checked in. Now he departs the backfield. A&M brings 5. Lindsey in trouble. And he's down at the 22-yard line.
It looked like a face mask that time because when Lindsey started to escape, somebody reached inside and grabbed his face mask.
No flag on the play. No flag on the play.
Well, that's a big non-call there. They will have to attempt a 39-yard field goal.
But you know, that's what happens all the time against a quarterback who's running around, and he does not grab the face mask. Trent Driver came in there, and he grabbed him around the collar. That was a good call that time by the official. It was not a face mask.
This crew's done a very good job tonight.
Outstanding job.
39 yards away for Tim Sidness. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. So now Texas A&M will go on offense in overtime. If they score a touchdown, the place erupts.
Well, this is the question you asked me a couple of minutes ago. This is why you want to be on defense first, Drew, so you know what you have to do. Right now, the play calling for Texas A&M has got to be to get into the end zone and not play for the field goal.
The Cougars, and as soon as this one's over, we'll transfer you to Tempe. Here we go, the Aggies on offense at the 25. Sir Parker. Give him 9 yards.
Go back to your bread and butter play. They've been running that play all night. It's a pitch with the guard pulling out ahead, and they've been getting yardage all night. Do the plays that you've been successful at all night, and that's exactly what Steve Marshall, the offensive coordinator, was thinking there. Go back and try to pound him. You'd like to get in the end zone here without throwing a pass if you can.
Hodge crosses in motion. Hardiman and Parker again. It's Parker. Shuttle move, first down, inside the 10 to the 6. First and goal, Aggies.
One of the weaknesses of the 46 defense is the off-tackle play, because there's a linebacker or a defensive back sometimes lined up on the tight end, and there's a natural seam there. And that's exactly what Texas A&M is doing right now. They're pitching the ball, and they're attacking that seam off-tackle.
4 downs to pound it in from the 6-yard line. Aggies. They win it 28-25. They were down 22-7 early in the 4th quarter. Touchdown, Tiki Hardiman. Appropriate that he got in.
Big man, he's just running over people. He had his eye in the end zone, and he was not going to be denied. This team has got the heart of a champion to be able to come back like that. But you got to give some credit to the big guys up front. They got the hole, they opened it up, and Tiki finished it. An emotional win for R.C. Slocum.
There's now a log jam atop the South Division. 3 schools at 3-2 in conference play. Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech.
You know, it's such an important play. Let's see it one more time. He sees the end zone. He protects the ball, and he runs right through Ricky Thompson's hands into the end zone.
Again, the final in overtime, 28-25. The Aggies over the Cowboys.